Today in this video, I'm going to talk about 3 things as I reflect back on my journey, but why I chose to hire a real estate coach, in my opinion, and the key benefits that came from that. This could be relevant for you as a realtor, but this also could be very relevant to you as an entrepreneur trying to grow your business. I'm going to share, I guess, a bit of my aha moment, my holy shit moment around why I felt the need to finally step up and jump into this world and to get a coach to support my business. I hope it can add some context so that you're better positioned to make a decision in your business.
Here we go now.
When I think about the decision that I made to go ahead and take on a coach, wow, it feels like it was a very long time ago. But the craziest thing about all of this is that it was only 7 years ago. See, this lies the first point of the video. Us as entrepreneurs, us as realtors, we really underestimate what we can pull off over a reasonable, like a medium to long period of time. But we have complete unrealistic expectations about what could be done kind of in the short term. You might power pack too many things with an expectation of their return coming in a short amount of time. So here my story was this. It was 2013. It was coming in near the end of May. As a realtor, I had 15 deals firm and pending at that point. But I had nothing in my pipeline as I was going into the busiest parts of our month. May and June are always the busiest months in real estate. And here I was looking upon my business, where I was about to go with it, and I had this holy shit moment. Now I understand that 15 deals for many realtors in a year might be a lot, and I understand that, but it's the context that we can all relate to. The year before I had sold 42. The year before that I was about 25 or 26. And then the year before that I was in the high teens. That was kind of the trajectory that I was on. It was a pretty strong path of growth. I was riding high. And I think when I look back, I was riding on my high horse right into 2013. Not only was I riding on that damn horse, what I was, as I was going into 2013, basically by the seat of my pants. That was about it. All of those growth years, all of the things that I had done up to this point had been just cowboying it all along the way. What I didn't have was any sort of plan or system where I could maintain any of that energy and momentum into future years. The biggest thing about disclosing the number and talking about those where I was positioned was not the number in itself. It was just the awareness that I was off my trend. There was really, if I continued doing what I was doing, there was no chance I was going to hit my last year's figure. No way. So at that time, the only real estate IQ for my business that I developed was self-taught. It was stuff I had just kind of figured out as I went. That might sound like many of you. I was only focused with my blinders on, and I was in my little real estate bubble here in Calgary, and I hadn't really looked outside. I just kind of was looking inward, which a lot of us do in our businesses. And then I didn't have any mentors. There was nobody that I was looking up to at that point at all to help guide my career. It was just me, my ideas, off I go. And due to all this, I was on the brink of having one of my worst years in many years. That's what it was looking like. What I ended up doing was I looked around and I looked to find somebody. Finally, I don't know why, but I did open up my mind enough to find an agent in my market that I had looked up to. That through social media and through deals we had done, I could see that they were growing. I could see that something was going on and they were on an upward trajectory, their business. I had noticed that this agent had been to a conference or two, and it was kind of neat to see the passion, the excitement. So I went to them first. I was kind of going after somebody that I knew I could probably learn something from. After that guy gifting me some time, going out for lunch. It was pretty clear that his experience with a real estate coach had really taught him a thing or two and had changed his mindset altogether. Needless to say, a data guy and an ex-engineer like myself, I started to dig in. I started to dig into the options that are out there. And I was interviewing coaches from around North America. I ended up stumbling back on with Tom Ferry, which is where this agent had coached with. And lucky enough, I got on a phone call with Tom himself. He happened to be walking by the guy who was trying to sell me their services desk, and he put me on the phone, and that sealed the deal. But within a month, I had been assigned a coach, started a coaching session on a weekly basis. I'd committed to foregoing $1,000 a month US dollars. Not great, especially at a time when I was looking ahead to no future deals. I had jumped on a plane off to Chicago and was going to an event for 4 days with no idea really what I was getting into. None at all. I actually remember recording this little video. I wish I could find it. If I do, I'll share it. But it was a video that I took and selfie and just said, here I am about to embark on this journey. No freaking clue what's going to happen, but I wanted to document it. I had the wherewithal to do that. I just didn't have the wherewithal to put it anywhere to show you today. But it was from that session and that series of events that I took to take on a real estate coach where I met some of my best friends still today that I connect to on a daily basis, that are a part of a mastermind group that I'm on that is 6 years running. On top of that, the coaching and the learning, not only from the organization, but just from people that are focused on growth, focused on learning. It's changed my life completely, my business and my life. Now I could dive into all the little things, but I don't have time for this video. This video is just about the why I got there, why it was time to decide on getting a coach, adding some context, and then I'm going to dig into the 3 key benefits. Now when I zoom back out, I can see where the biggest part and the biggest reasons why, as an entrepreneur, as a realtor, you may want to consider this for yourself too. Okay, the number one thing of the 3 key things I'm going to talk about today is R&D, right? Think about research development. Yeah, but it's more like rip off and duplicate. See, I said earlier that most of my growth was focused inward. I had figured things out, was learning on the fly. But that was really it. In a case like this, when I joined a coaching circuit and an ecosystem now, there was a proven blueprint to success, and there is for all industries. And I was finally open to that. I was finally not having to almost like carve out my own little niche and fight so hard to get the odd thing done. I now had a proven blueprint to follow that I could manipulate and adjust into my business. See, if you do that and you've got a series of people that can show you that tried and true for your industry, you have the ability to expedite your growth, execute, keep passionate about your business, which ultimately ended up happening for me and ultimately ends up happening to many people that consider coaching and take it seriously. The biggest thing, as you can imagine, is I started to get into a position where I wasn't reinventing the wheel over and over and over again, which so many of us get into this trap. It's nice to know nowadays there's a lot more out there. There's a lot more online. But you got to first realize that it's there and not get stuck in your little world. With no pipeline, no nothing, I ended up finishing up at 50 deals. That 50 deals turned into the next year where I ended up forming a team and cresting over 100. And then only 2 years later, I was cresting the 200 deal per year mark. That would have never happened on my own. I could not have kept up, and I would not have figured that out without some extra support. The number 2 thing that when I look back at the decision to go ahead and get a coach was that accountability. Right? Accountability can be a scary word. A lot of people don't like it, especially when you're a leader and you're trying to roll accountability down to staff. It's oftentimes looked about as a negative. But I learned the positives of this. See, as much as I had a business partner from my early 20s right from day one, but honestly, we were in our mid-20s. We had a few bucks to rug together in our pockets. We had a lot of fun along the way. God knows we got into this industry not to feel like we had a boss, as a lot of us as entrepreneurs do, right? We want to have our own journey, write our own ship, create our own days, get away from the corporate man or woman. Correct? Accountability doesn't generally fit into that too often. But when you let accountability go, or you never institute it into your business at all, you're missing one critical fact typically, and that's treating your business like an actual business. See, no matter if you're a new agent, a new entrepreneur, whether you have been in this business a long time, you're trying to figure out how to stay relevant. No matter where you are, this concept is required. The accountability you need to either sustain, maintain, or grow is massively important towards your success. See, for me, it was even the simple action of taking money out of your pocket and cutting that $1,000 US check every month. I held my own self in integrity. I wasn't going to waste $1,000 a month. So guess what? I was ready and I was prepped for that weekly phone call. I got my assignments done, no different than in school. And as a result, we started to chip away week by week, day by day at the business plan. That's hard to do when you don't have that accountability over your head. Okay, the third one, research and duplicate was number 1. 2 was accountability when I look back. But the third one, the most powerful one, the one that I crave the most still today, is the idea of opening up your eyes. See, as I mentioned, as most of us are when we get going, we're in our own bubble. We're in our own little world and we're trying to execute on our vision. But the thing is that I realized, not only from my experience with the Tom Ferry organization and my experience with other coaches that I've taken on, and then my experience that when I position myself with entrepreneurs clubs and initiatives out there to further my learning, the thing that I noticed most, some of the most powerful things I was able to implement were from learning from outside of our market, learning from outside of our industry as well. See, when you can open up your blinders and you can open up your eyes to the other options, there's some pretty neat stuff out there that for the creative and savvy entrepreneur, you'll be able to take that forward into your business. For me, it was so great because I could look ahead to some of the markets that were way more forward thinking than where I was. And I could take that and be an early adopter on some things. And then I could be a non-adopter on other things where you could hear that things didn't work out and yet it sounded like a good idea, but you didn't need to take action. That was important too. And when you look outside your interest, when you look outside your own industry, that's where it gets really fun because then you can let all of this combination come together. All of this positioned me for an incredible success run that I continue to parallel today and I continue to lean into the more we look to adapt new things for our businesses here. So as I think back to this, and if I want to wrap this whole video up for you, when I think back to 2013 about the why, the decision to take on a real estate coach, and then the 3 main things that I look back on and really summarize the journey around. I know I would not be in this place here within Redline, with our other companies. I know I would not have this level of personal development if I didn't open myself up to the fact that I probably don't know it all and that I could get some help. And having a bit of a boss, having a little bit of an accountability group isn't a bad thing, especially in our world. I know that as a husband and as a father, and then for my own personal health journey that I'm on, it would be hard pressed to see me sitting here in this chair in the same place as I am now. So is coaching for you? Should you hire a coach? That's up to you. But I I hope my little story, the little context that I've provided, can give you some insight into whether or not that's the right fit for your business. As always, if you wanted to connect with me, if you wanted to learn more, please connect, DM, leave a comment, and of course subscribe to the channel and share this onward. Thanks so much.